Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Broadway Jets YouTube channel. You'll know me from Twitter as NYJ Mike. I'm joined as always by the master of receipts, NYJ Matt. And Matt, we have a very special guest on today. We have the Buffalo Jet fan, one of our favorite follows on Twitter, who is here to break down all things Jets' dirty, ugly loss from Sunday against the Buffalo Bills. So it's a sad day, boys, but glad to see your two Twitter faces right here on my cell phone as I podcast from the lobby of my building as I have no internet.
Hey, whatever it takes, man. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Welcome to the program. We are past 2,100 subscribers, so we're making some progress. Buffalo Jet fan, again, one of the best Twitter accounts out there. My favorite bit you've been doing is when you've been throwing in a random Jet Twitter persona where you're like, do you want Matt O'Leary playing tackle? It's one of my all-time favorite bits. So keep going with that. Are you having fun? Is there anybody you haven't used yet? Maybe Justin Field Fan Club could be in a new one. There's got to be some more people.
Yeah, I was surprised he
retired.
didn't make it, man. I really thought we were gonna be cool with him for like years to come.
Did you
But
see the breaking news? He just tweeted 5 minutes ago that he's back to being a Jet fan,
let's go.
and that he hopes they go 0-17 and draft Lenora Sellers. That was an exact tweet.
It's incredible, man.
All right, but we talked about it yesterday. We did a full breakdown of the gross loss. We're going to play a new game called Buy, Sell, Hold, sponsored by X Videos. We'll do that in a minute. But Buffalo Jet fans, take us through your thoughts on that loss. Obviously brutal, but what was like your initial 2 to 3 bullet points that stood out to you?
Yeah, well, I think they have a big opportunity to bounce back in Tampa. They were going to find out what this team is made of. You know, you find a way to win, and then you're 1-2, and you're probably a pick 'em against Miami. If you get another double-digit loss, then the Tankathon people are going to be, posting their screenshots on Twitter of the draft order, and you won't be able to really say anything in response to them. But I think my biggest takeaways were, number one, that like Steve Wilks is coaching like he has prime Revis and Deion Sanders, and he doesn't. And he has to stop doing that. I think that's been a bigger disappointment through 2 games because the defense has been bad in 2 games. And guys like Sherwood and Carter like have been almost unplayable, which is really surprising. So the defensive regression to me has been the biggest disappointment. And then I think offensively, like Tanner Engstrand, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face, right? And I think he just was gonna, okay, that worked game 1, we're gonna do it again. And the Bills, I've literally never seen a team do this. They were run blitzing their corners with single high safety on first down, like literally saying, if you want to throw it, you can have a free 8 to 10 yards. But they knew that the Jets ran the ball on like 83% of their first downs in week 1, and they were just betting on that, get him in the 3rd and long. And it didn't seem like Engstrand could pivot from that. It was like, here's the plays we have. These are the plays we have to run. It's like, you planned a birthday party at the park. Now it's raining. What do you do? Like you have, and I think it's just the nature of a first year OC, not being able to pivot. Definitely not the end of the world. There's going to be some ugly losses. I mean, you could point to millions of examples of coaches who had really ugly ones to start their tenure. But I just think it's not fully a rebuild. Like there's some dudes on this team. It's not like there's a bunch of scrubs, and they should be more competitive. And it sucks because with all that said, man, if they found a way to just win week 1, you're fine. It's like you burn the tape and you move on and you're 1-1. But now you're 0-2. And I think if you were doing an objective power ranking, you'd probably have the Jets in the bottom 5. So not great, but big opportunity to bounce back for sure.
Mike, what are your thoughts?
Man. No, I mean, you nailed it. It's like we keep talking about it. If you look at the top 20 guys on this team, they're like real NFL guys who have gotten all pro selections, 1,000-yard seasons, 10-sack seasons. So your point about the defense is spot on. Like what is it? Through 2 games they have like 3 legitimate stops in how many possessions? The Steelers then go to Seattle, or I don't know if that game was in Pittsburgh, but they played the Seahawks and they score 17 points and Rodgers throws a couple picks and they look human. Obviously the Bills scored well last week against the Ravens, but it's like, what happened to the 2022-2023 defense that was so good? And it's the same guys. And they beefed up the interior defensive line this year. That was clearly an issue last year when you lost guys like Quentin Jefferson, and then Al Woods got hurt, but you brought in Harrison Phillips. The Briggs guy looked awesome for a couple plays yesterday. So I don't know what it is, and it's just. I mean, you talked about Carter and Sherwood. Clearly, the middle of our defense, the slot and the linebackers aren't playing well. But man, very very disheartening. But it would have been nice to be 1-1, and then we'd be more excited for that week 3 game. But now it's kind of a must win.
So Buffalo Jet fan, we go based on feel a lot because we go to the game, so it's not easy to pick up everything that's occurring. Sherwood clearly has regressed. So my first buy, sell, hold is Jamie and Sherwood, even getting to like 80% of what he did last year. The other thing is a lot of people that you called out are down on Carter. Mike, I don't know how you feel being at the games. Definitely has gotten beat 3 to 4 times. Like I saw him and I'm like, wow, he wasn't there. I didn't feel like he's been dreadful, but every metric says he has been. So give me a buy, sell, hold on either Michael Carter or Jamie and Sherwood moving into the year. Do you think they're going to get back to form, or are you selling them from where they're at now?
I would definitely hold on Sherwood because he was really good last year, and he was pretty good and voted team MVP after Saleh was fired. So like it's not that like he's Bryce Huff where he's a complete Saleh merchant because Bryce Huff had a strip sack to seal San Francisco's win, of course. But he was good under Jeff Ulbricht's defense. And look, but he's had a tough start. Like the last year's game, they were the Jets were doing like run stunts and he was the looper. So he's coming in and like it's pretty much you are in that hole. If he's not doing that job, the whole run design is screwed. And he was just getting washed out of the plays. And I think where a guy like CJ Mosley, like you missed that stopping power and that downhill ability for sure. Where I think Sherwood and Quincy are both meant to play next to a Mosley and not necessarily next to each other, but they're still both talented enough to make it work. I'm gonna hold on Sherwood because it was too big of a sample size of him being pretty good. Will he be worth being the top 6 highest paid linebacker in the NFL? Probably not, but I think he can get back to being a plus starter. Carter, I probably have to sell because I don't know if his back is right. Like, dude, he had like his injury last year was like, that gif with Mike Tyson where he's like spinal, I broke my back. Like that was his injury designation the whole year. Like they didn't say what it was. They're like his back is just broken, but he's playing kind of, but not really. And now he's already on the injury report again. And I think a guy who's his size, who plays as physical as he does, I don't know if he's ever going to get back to being healthy enough to be that player he was. So I might have to sell Michael Carter. It really bums me out because when he's right, he's one of my favorite players on the team.
Yep. Now, before I ask Mike, I'm going to predict what Mike is going to say. He's going to buy Michael Carter. He's going to hold Jamie and Sherwood. Mike, am I right?
I mean, listen, Michael Carter's awesome. I love. He also almost had the interception in the first game against the Steelers. But man, health is tough in the NFL, and as aging men that we are, we getting up to 28, 29 years old. It's you start feeling it. It's like man, like these guys are playing NFL football out there. It's kind of tough. Sherwood, he got the Javon Kinlaw contract, so that means he should be an All-Pro. But no, I was glad when they brought Sherwood back, but it does feel like you're kind of missing some oomph in the middle of that defense with the departure of Mr. Mosley, and Quincy's also flying around, but they're playing with like the McCrary ball guy or Waga at the other linebacker spot. So if I go by my Madden rankings and you have a 66 overall linebacker playing as the third guy, a little bit tough out there. Not exactly the taped up Buffalo Jet fan is watching, but man, like it's just scary because if Michael Carter's not himself and you have Sauce out there playing great and he let up a big catch, but if Sauce is playing great and you have Brandon Stevens and Michael Carter plus a third linebacker or Tony Adams guarding the other tight end on the other team, it's tough. Like there's 3 probably plus matchups for the opposing offense every single time they throw the ball. And if you're not getting consistent pressure, which they're not doing, it doesn't feel like you're ever going to get a stop. So you just kind of need these guys to really lock in. And I'm not going to give up on either of those guys yet, but at some point, someone's the culprit. And it seems like it's the interior of the Jets defense so far this year.
Yeah, I think very fair. Mike, it sounds like you have one of our sponsored videos playing in the background with whoever's yelling. We're going to play.
No, it's like sitting in my lobby. There's people looking at me like I'm a lunatic. I've been trying to mute it when I'm not speaking.
You're doing great. We'll get back to buy, sell, hold. I want to play a quick game. I keep inventing new games. We're going to fill in the blank here. This is a Connor Hughes tweet. I understand what you guys all meant with insert name. He sucks. Who was Connor Hughes referencing in that tweet?
Clemens?
I'm going to go with Vladimir Putin.
It was AJ Soprano was the correct answer. AJ Soprano. And my last
What did Buffalo Jet fan guy say here?
my new game too, another new game, over under with Connor Hughes. More tweets from Connor Hughes about the Sopranos or yards of offense from the Jets against the Bills on Sunday?
Yards of offense.
Mike?
It's got to be the tweets. It's got to be.
Yards of
like
offense
60 times?
Yards of offense at 154. Sopranos tweets at 92. Buffalo Jet fan, and you both get it right. So just want to throw out a new game sponsored by X Videos. Buy, sell, hold.
Does that site exist anymore? I got to look up something real quick. Hold on.
Buy, sell, hold. AZ Thomas is a starting cornerback in the month of October. A lot of Jet fans were like, you got to start in week 2. I don't think Glenn was ever going to do that early. But in the month of October, barring injury, so like you're calling him out as replacing Brandon Stevens, do you think AZ Thomas will get a start? Buffalo Jet fan, we'll start with you.
I would sell that. I think maybe Malachi Moore over Tony Adams, yes. But I think the contract they gave Stevens, he's on the books for 2 years at good QB CB2 money, and he was like their first guy. Like, because Sherwood was re-signing, Fields as quarterback, the first position player from another team that they wanted to get was Brandon Stevens. Now, he wasn't very good last year. He hasn't been very good to start the year. I kind of wish they maybe didn't sign him and spent that money somewhere else and just stuck Thomas or like Jack Bernard Converse or brought back Echoes or whatever over there, because how much worse could it be? But I think that financial commitment and let's be clear, like we could say, the GM signed him. Like, no, they're not signing a corner if Aaron Glenn doesn't sign off on it and if Steve Wilkes doesn't like him. So they're probably going to see that through for a little bit longer. So I would say sell that AZ Thomas is in there barring injury.
Mike, what are your thoughts?
Totally agree. Totally agree. Not going to make that change during Breast Cancer Awareness Month. No, but you're really not. You signed the guy for $12 million. You gave him $4 million less than a DJ Reed. Not that DJ Reed would have re-signed. It takes 2 to tango, like Buffalo Jet fan likes to say on the interwebs. But I think maybe if AZ was like a second-round pick or some of the circumstances were different. But I agree. Other than Andrew Beck, that was the first real guy that they signed, and definitely in the actual free agency period. So you give the guy $12 million. Can't really bench him after 4 games. Showed a couple flashes later in the preseason, so hopefully they could kind of figure it out. The size and the athleticism are there. It's been disheartening, but it's still 2 games. And, like if he catches that ball against the Steelers, even though he fell down like an idiot, like maybe we'd be having a different conversation. I don't know. And he still was
Do you guys notice like
position.
The Jets having even worse than their opponent, the inability to have footing on their own home turf? Like just slipping and sliding all over the field, like way more than the opponent. I'm like, I know it's not the field you practice on, but like this is your turf. You can't get the right cleats to not be falling all over your own turf.
I thought about during the game, like why can't once a week they drive up to East Rutherford and have a scrimmage on that turf and like run your concepts in the stadium you're going to play half your games in. I've always thought of that. And while people were falling, I was noticing that. Also, one of my favorite tweets of all time is when the Jets signed Brandon Stevens, I just like name searched him on Twitter and found a highlight of Jamar Chase being clamped down by the Ravens secondary. And I was like, newly signed Brandon Stevens torturing Jamar Chase. And it has 250,000 views and 1 million replies of people being like, he's in one clip. So like he's in the first clip of the video and I just posted it. And the rest of it, he's not covering him. And I have 1 million replies from Ravens fans being like, this guy is terrible. Another training camp merchant that you hear how great he was in training camp. And then Xavier Gibson, too. We made the point of we know we're not at training camp every day watching him. But Aaron Glenn comes out before week 1 and says he's 145 for catching punts. And that like he's over criticized. And then he gets cut a week later. Very bizarre. But I agree with your take. I do think Brandon Stevens is going to play and start. I think the overreaction early on, they weren't going to bench him in week 2, to your point, after giving him $12 million. I have another one that I think will get a lot of hate from people. They're going to say, sell it. But will Michael Clemens have another personal foul penalty in 2025? So I guess the buy would be he is going to. I'm bad at games, but we'll do Michael Clemens will have another penalty, roughing the passer, personal foul in 2025. Buy, hold, sell.
You take it away, Mike.
Is the Pope Catholic? Yeah, I mean, yes, probably. That's the problem. We just said you go into the season and you're like, all right, Xavier Gibson's probably going to muff a punt, and Michael Clemens is going to do something really stupid and ruin a game. Not the Jets would have lost anyway, and then they happen in the first 2 weeks. So yes, probably Michael Clemens will not control himself and smash some other quarterback in the face and get a personal foul. Yes, 100%. And Josh Allen's also an asshole and flops every second. So
Buffalo Jet fan.
Yeah, I would definitely say yes. If he's allowed to play the rest of the games, because I'm looking back through his penalty log. So obviously he has one game and one 15-yard penalty. Last year he had two 15-yard, one roughing the passer, one unnecessary roughness. 2023, he had another two personal fouls, including one where he was disqualified for. And then his rookie year, 2022, he had one. So it seems like he's probably due for one, whether it's like instigating a fight or roughing the passer. It's just the crazy thing is, like, he is probably by a wide margin their third best edge, because you look at like Braden, like there's just like random Madden generated players they're playing, like Braden McGregor, who like on the touchdown to Elijah Moore, like his controller glitched out. He was like, and I'm like, what the fuck? and like Tyler Barron, who I'm still convinced is not a real person. I think they're like trying to cut costs and they're just like saying there's another player on the payroll, but he's not real. But it's like, if he could not commit penalties, he is their third best edge. But it's like, at what point is that he's gonna do it? And like, if he's probably gonna start if Jermaine is hurt. And it's just, he's gonna do that in a close game. So it's just so hard. And like, Josh Allen flops all the time, but that's pretty clear cut. Like, they're gonna call that, especially when you knew the officiating crew was announced and you knew who the opponent is. And of course, Coach Glenn reiterated that. And it's so funny to see Coach Glenn screaming at him. Like, he probably thinks like, oh well, I'll just tell him to stop doing that. This is no big deal. And it's like, why did you do that? I stopped. It's like, yeah, man, he can't. That's who he is, bro. That's who he is. So yeah, he'll probably get another one.
Especially he plays against Dion Dawkins. He gets all fired up playing.
Yeah, and
face Dion Dawkins.
I tweeted out Michael Clemens has like 180 snaps against the Bills, and he talks the most shit about them, and he has 0 sacks in the entire time playing them. Josh Allen does flop. We all know that. I saw a tweet that he had like 9 more roughing the passers than the second highest active player, which it can't be true. Because
is that true?
I think I think they said since 2018, 2019, because obviously you have guys that have been in the league for 15 years, but he actually like snaps his neck himself. Mm-hmm. That at a point, like, he actually could give himself a concussion by being an asshole and flopping. So be on the lookout. 2 things bother me about Michael Clemens. 1, his name is spelled wrong. Just it's spelled incorrectly. And it's insane that we're allowed to just be gaslit by them spelling his name wrong. 2, the clip of him yelling at Browns fans that Thursday night football game lives rent-free in my head. Because if you showed me that clip after the game, as if like I didn't know the outcome, I'm like, oh, we won by 50. Like, he's shit-talking Browns fans and we're down by 30 points and we're getting like murdered. It's crazy that he's allowed to still be on this team. But you also tweeted out before the year that he's so overhated. He's now underrated technically by Jet fans, because to your point, he is technically their third best edge rusher. So, all right. I have a few more buy-sell holds. This game is fantastic. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah. That was a great game. I just was going to say Michael Clemens' discipline is not just the penalty stuff. Like, he doesn't hold the edge. He did the thing against the Browns that you're talking about. Remember he jumped on the pile. I don't remember that might have been
he did the Leroy Jenkins
himself. Leroy. So he's an asshole. But yeah, Matt, what else do you got?
I got a handful. So buy, sell, hold. The Jets defense will finish. The Jets defense will finish in the top half of the league in total yards allowed. Buy, sell, hold.
Can I buy it? Let's go.
Buy it, Mike. Fucking buy it.
Let's buy it. This is first of all, by the way, the Jets we talk about this all the time. They sucked last year. They were unclutched. They committed 1 billion penalties. They were still the 4th passing defense in football last year. I think they're going to figure out a way to turn it around. The Jets offense also, in theory, should help the Jets defense allow fewer yards. They're going to run the ball a lot, take a lot of time off the clock, if things are going well. And if you're winning games, they're going to be able to kind of dwindle them down, unless you're playing the Steelers and Xavier Gibson's returning a kick. So I'm going to buy it, Matt.
I like it.
Yeah, I actually am going to buy that as well. Now, I still have reservations about how good this defense will be, but honestly, it's interesting. In the first game, I thought the defense actually played better than the 34 points allowed would indicate because they kept the Steelers under 300 yards. It was just in the red zone they were bad, and they got the fumble was a gifted score. And the Bills, like we mentioned in our the group chat before the stream, like they could have put like 55 on the Jets if they really wanted to throttle it down. But look, man, like the Jets play. The Jets play a lot of teams whose fan bases feel like we do right now. I mean, they play the Dolphins twice. They play Drake May twice. They get the Bengals, who it's going to be Jake Browning probably. They get the Browns. They get Trevor Lawrence. They get the Saints. Like, it's that's why even dude, and no one's gonna want to hear it, so I won't even say it. If they go 0-3, I still don't even think the season is necessarily over. I'm not gonna tweet it because I don't want to deal with it. But if they go 0-3, it's like those are three teams you were favored. Those are three really difficult opponents, and there's still like you play the Cowboys who are going to score on us, but the Cowboys just gave up like a 40 burger to the Russell Wilson. You played Bryce Young and the Panthers, so they could start 0-3, and I could still see 7 wins left on the slate. So I'm going to buy the defense gets its shit together.
And by the way, I think the Jets probably are in the top half of yards in the league allowed now.
Yeah, they are. But based on trending wise, I think you'd want to make the argument that a lot of people think the Jets have 2021 levels of defense throughout the year. I don't see that happening. Could be dead wrong. But
a whole points allowed. But also, I do agree with Buffalo Jet fan here. The schedule gets really soft really quick. Like you got to just figure out a way to win a couple of these games. And if the Jets are actually closer to the team they were last week 2 weeks ago than they played in week 2, why not? Like why do we have to give up on the season after week 3?
And it's so easy to give up on the season. It is so easy to do that as a fan. And the thing that always comes back to tanking or not tanking, it depends how you do it. So if the Jets, for example, start 1-8, and then they sell us on winning 5 games down the stretch like they did in 2019, and they kill their draft stock, like objectively not good. But if you're 0-3 and you get to 3-5, and you get to 4-6, and then you get to 5-6, and then you can actually be like, oh, we're in the hunt graphic. Like that's all me and Mike asked for throughout high school and college was like be in the hunt graphic. But the other thing that this is a very like 2019-ish schedule where you play killer fan bases at home. Like very 2019 is very similar because you had a tough upfront. You end up beating the Cowboys when you're 0-4, which you were 7-8 point dogs that game. It might have even been more. I don't even remember. But that was a game that Toronto came back.
I know they were 0-4.
They were 0-4 going into that Cowboys game at like the 4:25 start. But hard first half, easier second half, you rattle off wins. But dude, that same year we played the Cowboys at home, the Steelers at home, and of course Buffalo at home. Those are just they're road games at a point. Right. I think Steelers was closer to 50-50. I think there was more Jet fans. The towels make it feel like bigger. Mike, am I wrong to say it was like 65-35 yesterday?
There were a ton of Bills fans.
Crazy.
And it's just like also like how do you even stop that? Like people are like we have to do something about it. Like what do we do? Like can't stop them from buying
tickets.
And
then they yell at us for going to games and giving Woody money. Like you can't have it both ways. They're like, I'm embarrassed that no one's at this game and we're getting dog walked by a different fan base. By the way, Matt, kill yourself for buying tickets and giving Woody money. It's like you can't have it both ways.
All right. I don't know what to do. Yeah, we could buy seats and just not go. Like don't go occupy them. I don't know.
I have one more buy, sell, hold, and it's a weird one to explain. But is Aaron Glenn buy, sell, hold? Aaron Glenn physically fights a beat reporter in a press conference this year. Like I'm buying that. I can't believe what I'm watching. And Mike, you said it yesterday. What if they go 4-13? Like these questions are going to mount 10x what they are now. And Aaron Glenn, I think, got the word from Woody. The Athletic articles that came out, the anti-beat reporter stuff. Woody Johnson was probably like, do whatever you want with them. But for sure, these beat writers are not happy with what they're getting out of Aaron Glenn in these press conferences. So buy, sell, hold. Aaron Glenn physically fights Brian Costello, Rich Cimini, Rosenblatt, or Connor Hughes.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy it. So there's gonna be a moment that definitely gets pretty testy. Look, I think I try not to live and die on every word of that the coaches say because there's no great answer after a blowout loss. And if he wins, then it won't matter. And if he loses, the jokes will write themselves. I will say, I think he could do himself some favors because, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, I've never seen a coach come in with this little leash from the fan base. And I'm not judging fans, like it's 15 years, it's mounted frustration. They went all in and we were all here hyped up. I was super stoked when they got those players up to Devontae Adams and Reddick, and it went, and you get nothing out of it. So I think the fair thing to do would be like to take the Men in Black stick and forget it. And this is brand new, but it's hard to do that as fans. So I'm not judging fans who pay the money to see all this stuff, and it's been 15 years. I get it. So but the thing is with this owner, like the media and what people are gonna like, do you have like Brick Johnson's like listening to freaking Badlands or whatever right now. So and then he's gonna like, I swear Michael Nani an article got Tony Adams bench last year. I know it did. I know the one that did it. So like when you have bloggers one step removed from making key decisions in the organization, like I think the communication does matter. And like Coach Bro, when that lady asks you if you know about Fields' concussion severity, just say we don't. Just say like, hey, we don't know yet. We're still waiting to find out, because that lady's just trying to ask a question, and like, because there's been times where it's like, what an asshole question. I didn't really see that. Like they're just literally asking normal questions. So just answer them, and especially when you're like after week one, when you're victory lapping and saying, oh, how about Justin Fields? You said he couldn't throw. And then Breece Hall is like tweeting like, the enemy speaks quietly but carries a knife or whatever after one game. And it's like, you guys know you lost, right? That was the most disappointing thing about the week 2 is, guys, they had a Super Bowl hangover because they almost won. The emotional high of almost winning was like, dude, they couldn't come back from it. So like, I think that's, and you set yourself up for that. Like, and he's like, oh, Arian Smith, the guy you say can't catch. It's like, I love Arian Smith, but he's going to have a crucial drop along the season somewhere. We all know that. So just, if you're going to, I don't know, if you're going to talk it like that, when you catch the L, you kind of have to stand there and take the bullets. I hope, and I'm not saying that to like eviscerate him. I hope people listening can understand the difference of like, I want fans not to be all on him. And I think he could buy himself a little bit more grace by not literally verbatim quoting Robert Saleh and saying instant coffee. I'm like, is he trolling us right now? I'm like, there's no way he just said instant coffee. So yeah, tough day at the podium for Coach for sure.
That was very well said. I want to clip that. What happened, Mike?
That was so, I love when you'll tweet out like, oh, Robert Saleh's like writing an allegory in the locker room.
I know. He was like, listen, man, there once was a koala who downloaded Duolingo. And all the other koalas doubted him, but then he spoke French and he saved the whole rainforest. And then Tony Adams and Malachi Corley is like, hey, can you teach me how to run a route? And he's like, enough. Sit down, Malachi Corley.
Dude, I think
Malachi Corley goes and tries to financially rip off.
I borderline respect the fuck out of Malachi Corley. That's like a special kind of crazy you only find once in a lifetime. Yeah. Like that's crazy to ask for $1 million.
Trade for him back, honestly. Maybe we could use some of that energy.
Dude, I also didn't realize during the game that Elijah Moore scored that touchdown. Because I saw him, I'm on the radio on the turnpike, and I hear Elijah Moore is the guy in the backfield for the QB kneel, and he did a backflip. They said it on the radio. And I was like stuck in traffic, and I was like, motherfucker doing a backflip.
I'm surprised he doesn't request a trade now because he didn't get the ball enough.
Yeah, I almost tweeted, like, was he even on the field today? And I like, something in my mind was like, don't tweet that. You have to read the stats first. And then I had no idea he scored a touchdown during the game.
Dude, he burned Michael Carter for like a 30-yard catch too.
Dude, I have no recommendation of that.
No.
I think that was his first touchdown since he left the Jets.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He was targeted a handful
like
now.
4 his first year.
He was okay his rookie year on the Jets. He was...
He had like 60 catches last year too. He didn't have the worst year, but
dude, Mike, I was coming home from where was it? Some Christmas Village bullshit, and I'm hungover in the backseat, and you get the quote like Robert Saleh, Elijah Moore should be good to go, like dealing with something small, and then boom, he's on IR out 4 weeks, dead. And you're like, why can't we watch like our young cool receiver play football? It's unbelievable. Oh. But I was very nervous we were gonna get that with who was hurt. I thought Sauce Gardner.
Is that like, really you know where you were moment, Matt?
Yeah, when Elijah Moore went on IR in 2021, I did know where I was. But I
got shot.
I was nervous about like these injuries that aren't during the week. You hear Saleh say the guy's on track to play, and they don't play, and they're inactive. Yeah. I was very concerned we were going to get that with Sauce Gardner, but when he came out and said he was playing, I felt a lot better. the Jermaine injury is very weird because Jermaine is quote tweeting himself with praying emojis and then saying like God is good or what. I'm like, are you 4 weeks out? Are you playing Sunday? Like, I have no idea about the Jermaine injury.
That means he's good, or like he's 100% good, or he's going in for surgery.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Man,
No
I
in
want him to
between.
pop off. I want him to like come out and get like a
I love
2.5
Jermaine.
sack game and go crazy. Like you've been dying to play for 365 days. You're back now. Go off. But the Bills have the formula. I don't know what it is, but everything they do is gold. And Josh Allen going superhero, jumping over people and hurtling. You're just like, what do we like? Goes for a 50-yard run out of nowhere.
That's what makes his flopping
Let's
so
hit him in the head
frustrating
on third
because
and
he's so
19.
physically imposing. Like he'll truck stick a linebacker, but then if he gets touched, he acts like he's dying. It's like it's one thing if Jared Goff does it. It's like, bro, whatever, man.
But
I hate the Bills.
we were in there. Like the Bills and Jets were always consistent from 2012 to like 2020, where you're just hopeless losers that might have a good run every once in a while and a good stretch, but you have that 2018 draft, and like I will never fault McCagnon. I wanted Sam Darnold, and they took him. Obviously, wrong move, but you just look at that night and you go back. You're like, we were in the same spot, and now every time they step on the field, they're a favorite, maybe against two teams they're not, and the Jets are an underdog in 9 out of 10 games. It's crushing to see what happened since that draft. Horrifying. I don't have any other buy sell holds though, for the record. So I'm trying to buy time here. What do we got? What else? Anything else before we wrap up?
Man,
Good.
I think they're gonna figure it out. I wonder if we got to see if like Fields is gonna play. I wonder how the offense is gonna look with Tyrod. It's good, better for Garrett. You have to think.
Yeah, I mean Tyrod is probably a little bit more of a like Tyrod can play. It's just Tyrod is the problem is the likelihood that you will have to play a third quarterback just becomes very high with Tyrod. Just his injury history as of late is pretty tough. So it might be one of those years where it's I don't know, they're calling up the guy from the practice squad. Hopefully Fields, because sometimes with concussions now they have to miss 2 games. It used to be like you were fine. Concussions used to be like no big deal, and it's probably better for the player's health, but yeah, he'll probably be out. I don't know. I mean, it's pretty crazy. It's one of the biggest drop-offs from a week 1 to a week 2 game. Like he was legitimately best game of his career to worst game of his career. It's pretty wild.
Well, Mike, I looked at you in the mid third quarter. I looked at you. It was maybe at the end of the third quarter. I was like, Fields is 2 for 8 for 17 total like with the sack, and you were like, no. I know you're a little banged up, but you're like, that can't be true. And I'm like, think of the plays that he did. And you're like, I was happy
you're
for
right,
Jeremy
man.
Ruckert.
At that point, just throw like a touch pass to someone. Throw a screen. Like,
We
what are we
talked
doing?
about
Like,
that.
you said
Just
it during
have
the game.
Garrett Wilson do a shallow cross and get 3 yards just to like get your third completed pass. Like just do that.
Do it
They're
10
playing
times in a
off.
row. Who cares? Yeah, like why it would work. I don't know. It's very frustrating. It's very embarrassing. You have 3 completions. It's not 1971.
Well, Trubisky had more yards than Fields on that one pass.
Oh yeah, that was the stat you texted us. It was great. I mean,
That was demoralizing, him coming in. And Josh Allen ran. I saw it in real time. Josh Allen run off the field, and I thought he was holding his hand. I think he was catching the blood that was coming off. So I'm thinking like broken hand, broken wrist. Again, don't root for injuries, but a guy who flops.
Michael Cummins punched him in the face. Was that the rumor? Did that happen?
Yeah, he popped him in the face.
What's he doing? Oh.
Good. I mean, he came right back out. Every year, he'll have like a crazy, like he'll get hit in the sideline and act like he's dead, run in the tent, and you're like, okay, like maybe he's out, and then he'll jog back on the field.
He's in the tent. Haley Steinfeld, just hanging out.
I don't know if we've ever talked about that theory that we have, but Buffalo Jet fan, we have a theory that I don't know if we can say it on air. We think that their significant other might be in the tent to give them a pick me up prior to going back out on the field. We also have a great friend of ours named John who has a theory that the NFL field should be detachable, where like panels of the field can go down. So if an injured player gets hurt, instead of waiting for 10 minutes, you just retract that part of the field and ship them under. It's a great idea.
That's amazing.
All right. Buffalo Jet fan, thank you for coming on. If you made it this far, DM us. Mike and I will follow you back. Subscribe over to Buffalo Jet Fan YouTube. Great content. There's a million Jet YouTube content creators. I primarily go to Buffalo Jet Fan. So keep killing it over there. Follow him on Twitter. Anything else to plug before we wrap up?
No, I appreciate it, guys. I'll have to have you guys on my channel sometime this year for sure.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna go ruin that kid's homework assignment.
Okay. Have a good night, guys.
Take care, boys.